Hello everybody and welcome to UKPM Survival and Outdoors here on YouTube, and in this latest UKPrepperman video we're going to be talking about a winter car survival kit. Stay tuned. So in this video I'm going to be talking about a car winter survival kit. Now it's a well-known fact in the UK you get 4 seasons in one day. We're only in December, we haven't had any snow yet, but you never know, it will happen, and depending on where you are in the country the weather can change like that. So in the car I always keep kit for those situations. Now I did do a video a while ago about a winter survival kit, but I've sort of condensed it a little bit, and for the simple reason that this is a daily driver, this is a car I need to use on a daily basis. So I wanted something where I could keep the kit, I could move it around within the car, and it is what it is. We don't all have big cars, and although this car is a large car, keen-eyed viewers will notice it's not the Berlingo. We're going to come on to that in a different video, but it's a Skoda Octavia estate and it's got loads of space, but I just wanted a little bit more flexibility in terms of the kit. It's a good idea to make sure you got the right kit, just enough, not too much, so it is what it is. There's no sort of wrong or rights to this. It's just having some options to scenarios when these things happen. All right, so the car itself, nice big boot. It does have storage down the sides, so ideal for fitting in my warning triangle on my vehicle tracks. They just go on the left side. On the right hand side of the boot I can keep my foot pump, I can keep some chem lights, I can keep the spare poncho, and I can keep a couple of other things like some work gloves, which of course are ideal when you're going to be working on your car. Also, reflective jacket, that lives in the boot at all times, because the last thing you want to be doing is walking around, getting cold, getting chilled. It's waterproof, it's windproof, and it's reflective as well. Talking of reflective, when you get out your car in the dark, on a road, it's not good. You could get hit by a vehicle. So I always keep high-vis vests in the front pockets on the car. They just go in the door pockets. I've got a high-vis vest in my driver's side, along with my trusty mag lights, which I've had for a good number of years. And in the front passenger side there is high-vis vest and some backup maps, because you can never rely on sat navs. And the sat nav and the dash cam are the same, which I've had for years. They just plug in to a little splitter box that goes into the 12-volt socket in the front of the car. But anyway, this video is about the winter survival kit and equipment that can be used whether or not you've broken down, whether or not it is snowing and the roads are jammed and you need to have that kit. So hopefully it's going to give a bit of inspiration if you're thinking about doing a winter kit yourself. This is going to give you some ideas. So without further ado, we'll show you what we've got in the box. Okay, so the boxes themselves are 40 litres capacity, so enough space to put the essentials in, but not too big so I can't fit them in the car. These will actually fit in the boot or behind the driver's and front passenger seats in the rear cabin. So they are pretty heavy duty, they will stack, they've got nice clip lock handles there, and if I wanted to padlock them I could put one through there, okay? But they are pretty waterproof, and as I say, they can put the essentials in there. So I'm going to come back to this one in just a moment, and we're going to focus on this. Now it's worth mentioning that of course I have my ADC with me at all times, so I have my keys, I have my torch, always worth carrying, okay? And also there are a few things that aren't in this box which are kept separately in the car. For instance, the first aid kit lives in the front door pocket on the car, and also things like the wheel brace, warning triangle, jump cables, all those, they're in the boot as well. So things, you can't fit everything into a box. So if you see some things that are missing, chances are they are in the car anyway. So I'm just going to open this box and show you what's in this first of all. And right off the top, a map. Why have a map? Well, everybody has sat nav these days. If not on the phone, then there's a separate unit attached to the windshield. But this is essential. If the car fails, I can't use the sat nav, or there's no mobile signal, then I need to be able to know where I'm going. And this again is a large scale map, which is 3 miles to 1 inch, a lot better. So you can see, obviously, plan the route. Right. Other contents within the box. Now, these lanterns I've recently got. I picked them up for a discounted price in the UK's #1 discount shop. They are pretty good. They pull out at the top there, and nice bright light, and they just run on 3 AA batteries, which of course I've kept separate on the sides. But you know, if the batteries failed in the car, you need to have light. It's reassuring. It's probably the #1 security feature that you're going to have in your kit. Is to have good light. Okay, and if you're doing any work on the car, it's good as well. Having said it, just a little torch, because there's space that can be used if somebody hasn't got one themselves, and the batteries are kept separately from that within here. Backup power for mobile phone with the charging cable. Obviously this is kept fully charged, and there's a little button on the side there, so I can actually test to see, make sure that it has enough current in it. It's a 10,000 milliamp one as well, so plenty of power in there. So of course, last thing you want is your mobile phone failing. WD-40, enough said. One thing, never lose the straw, hence the elastic band around it. It has got a zillion and one uses, so always keep some WD-40 in the car. Multi-tool, it's not a Leatherman or a massive branded one. It's one that I've had for a number of years. It does what it needs to do. It's good as a backup. It's got a few ratchets on there, pair of pliers. It's got the bit kit in the back, as I say. Yeah, it does what it needs to do. A multi-tool, and it's, you know, worthwhile having that sort of thing if you're doing any running repairs. And similarly with the zip ties, a lot of cars now have an under tray underneath your engine, and sometimes all it takes is a stray branch to dislodge that. And obviously, if you break the clip, then you can use these to fix that, apart from loads of other uses. Rubbish bags, and also a heavy duty rubble sack. This could be used as a shelter if need be. It could be used to kneel on. You know, it's pretty heavy duty, but it's always a good idea to have the rubbish bags. Again, loads of reasons why to have those. Brew kit and food kit. Well, if you get broken down, then hunger is going to set in. So I've got some Cliff Bars, some of these little fruit bars, peanuts, a few other bits of food in there as well. Just snacks really to keep you going. It's not the sort of thing I eat all the time, but you know, if you're cold and hungry, then this will put you back on your feet pretty quickly. And what goes in must come out. You've all been to service areas and found that they've run out of the necessities. So we've got toilet roll, tissues, some hand sanitizer there as well, all in a waterproof bag so they don't become wet. If you're stopping out, it's nice to freshen up. Toothbrush, toothpaste, tea tree wipes, deodorant. You know, it helps. It's not essential, but it does help. Okay, it makes things a bit more bearable. And again, some more wipes there as well, which with a child you're liable to have sticky fingers, which is always good for a clean up. Spare batteries. Got spare batteries for the torch, spare batteries for my mag light. Now the mag light is as good as it is. It's the only thing that doesn't run on AA's or AAA's. It runs on D-cell batteries, and 3 of them. So I keep those spare, and because they're kept in the car, I check them every month or so just to make sure that there's charge. I also have a spare adapter which will go into the cigarette lighter on the car. It's got the USB sockets on there as well, so if something fails, I've got just a backup there. Instant tea. Not the best thing in the world, but everyone needs a brew, and if it's cold, that can raise the morale, raise the spirits, and make everybody happy. So for that, you need hot water. And so I've got my trusty old thermos flask, which I've had for years. It's a litre, so plenty of water in there for everybody, and hot water goes in there at the start of a journey. If need be, tea can be added. There's cups in the car, and obviously you've got the lid on there. I also have my mug, which I keep in the car at all times, the little Life Venture one that I've had for a while, and it's doing pretty good. I mentioned about mobile phones. You can store stuff on your mobiles, write notes, but it's always good to have pen and paper. So just a notebook and a pen as a backup. Tree comes down, branch comes down, need to get past. We have a saw, folding saw. Actually, these aren't too bad. I've got these a while ago. I think this one was about £3, but it's got hardened teeth on there. I think it's SK4 steel. It locks as well, so you're not going to injure yourself. Nice bright colour so you don't lose it, and a lanyard so that it doesn't come loose when you're operating it. But always a good idea to have a saw. You never know what you might need that for. Hand warmers, you can get reusable, these are reusable ones, sorry, but you can get single-use ones. I think a leading supermarket in the UK is advertising 5 packs for £4 at the moment, but these are reusable. You can reactivate them, which is ideal. There's nothing worse than having cold hands, and these can also be put into clothing to keep warm, so on and so forth, okay? And you know, with temperatures getting down, at some point you are going to freeze up, so I keep some backup de-icer in there, which is rated down to -20. Last thing you want to be doing is sitting there not knowing where you're going when you're trying to drive, and obviously clear your ice off your screen before you go. So I have those. I obviously keep some in the front of the car, and I do keep some in the house. Got a scraper as well. It's worth stocking up on this sort of thing. Normally if you pick it up at the end of the summertime, you can get it at a real good price, and I think the last lot I bought around about 6 cans of de-icer for less than £1 per can, and it is pretty good. Communication, well, I have a mobile phone, but obviously it's still a good idea to have a radio as well. This one is AM, FM, and has got shortwave bands on, so if there is an emergency, it's nice to know what's going on. Again, the batteries have been taken out of those and kept separately, because if you leave batteries in a unit and those batteries corrode, then the device is lost, and you know, the last thing you want to be doing is not know what's going on. Again, if there's a traffic jam, if there's a road closure, you know, local news, and this has got push button tuning on it, which is brilliant because it's got a scan. So just push the scan button and it'll find the local station to save you having to scroll up and down on a manual one trying to find what's going on. Need to see where you're going, so spare bulbs. Guarantee that your bulbs are going to fail in winter time, using your lights more. It's a good idea to have these bulbs because in the event of you getting pulled over by the local police, they may take a bit of a dim view, pardon the pun, if you haven't got spare bulbs. So these are only cheap. They've got the bulbs in there for the vehicle, and they're pretty standard across the range. Unlikely, but maybe, you never know. You might have to dig yourself out. Whether or not it be mud, whether or not it be snow, a folding shovel is ideal. Now this isn't an MOD one, it's just a fairly reasonably priced one from a hardware store, but to be fair, it does the job. I keep it in the back of the car because if you do get stuck in snow, you can remove it away from your wheels, but I've been stuck in mud before and this has helped. And I've also got tyre tracks as well, which you've probably seen. They live in the boot of the car as well, and again, really, really handy things to have. Now, because you're using lights and heaters and everything, your battery is going to get an absolute hammering. So there's a bit of maintenance here. This is just a battery and alternator charge tester. Now, it's got the lights on the top of this, which will indicate whether or not your battery is low, fully charged, half charged, charging, you know, and you just put it onto the terminal or earth point on the car and record it. So there's a bit of maintenance in here, but it's always a good idea to check. I just keep it in here because it's hand, and you know, when you're running things like heaters, air conditioning and all sorts, your battery is going to get a bit of a hammering. Tyres, just a little tyre pressure gauge. We've all seen one of these before, but the last thing you want is to have a flat. And check your tyres before your journeys. Good gaffer tape or duct tape or whatever you want to call it. Really, really, there's so many uses for this, it's unbelievable. I remember I had a problem with a car and I needed to fix the bumper, and unbelievably the gaffer tape actually worked and it stayed on there until I actually replaced the car. So you know, it's always a good idea to have it. Again, 1001 uses for gaffer tape. In emergency, you know, cold's a killer, so emergency blankets ×2. We've all seen these before. They're not the heavy duty ones, but then these ones were only about £1 each at the time when I bought them. Foil blankets, again, if there's an accident or somebody's ill, not necessarily yourself or your passengers, these are important. And again, I've got these in the first aid kit as well, but it's good to have some ready to go. I've got a couple of disposable ponchos in the car as well, and the survival bag. These are so cheap. They're £2, £3, depending on where you buy them. This one's brand new, never been opened, lives in the car. You know, in an emergency, you have a survival bag. The last thing you want is to spend hours in the cold. And again, you have the box there as well. As I say, it's not the complete kit, but these are the main things in this side. So I'm just going to switch the camera through and show you the other box. As if by magic, here is the other box. Again, clip lock handles. Talk about staying warm. It's important to have warm clothing, and a pair of socks is ideal. Wool is best, but any socks will do as long as you've got a dry pair of socks, because the last thing you want is freezing cold, horrible feet. A scarf, you can have a head over if you wanted to. I also keep some gloves. Now these again are backups. I do normally have winter gloves with me as well, so these could be given away if needed to somebody who might need them more than I do. A hat. This one's nice because it comes over your ears. So wool is better, of course, but you know, something is better than nothing. And thermal clothing. Now, if you can get hold of any of these, do. These are ECW kit. Forces issue, thermal jacket. This will just go over existing clothing or under existing clothing. I've got it so it'll just go over my my mid layers, so I can chuck this on. And again, multiple thinner layers are better than one big thick layer. This I think cost me about £5 in a surplus store. And I've got the trousers as well. Again, you can't go wrong with issue kit. These are drawstring, got the Velcro closure there as well. These are, if you want a pair of them, or the jacket, then they're called ECW Extreme Cold Weather. Okay, so keep your eyes out for them, or go online and search for a pair, because you might be lucky and find some. Right? And then lastly, a sleeping bag. Now, this is only a small jungle sleeping bag, but my thoughts were that with the clothing that I've got and the additional thermal clothing, this would be sufficient. And I have tested it, and it is okay. Obviously, a thicker sleeping bag is better, but you are catered by space. All right, so this lot will just all pack up nice and neatly into the box, and then they just get stored in the boot of the car with the rest of the kit without any issues at all. Okay, so stored on like that, and as I say, 2 boxes with essential kit in for winter. So there we have it. That is my car winter survival kit for 2019/2020 here in the UK. So obviously kits are going to be different, but I hope it's giving you some ideas, because there's no rights or wrongs, but there are some principles. So if you are putting a kit together, you know, maybe this is giving you some inspiration for, you know, some of the things to put in it. Okay, if you've enjoyed the video, check out my other videos which are on screen and on the channel. Please like, share and subscribe, and any comments, love to hear them. And until next time, thanks for watching, drive safely, and bye for now.